Betrayal is never a surprise. It doesn't strike like lightning. It leaks day by day like gas from a stove, odorless, silent, without warning. And then one day, when the relationship explodes, you find yourself standing in the ruins asking, what just happened? But the truth is, you felt it for a long time, from the way her eyes started looking elsewhere, from the clipped responses, from the way she's still physically beside you but mentally long gone. Women don't betray overnight. They withdraw in small, quiet steps, subtle, deliberate, but they leave behind clear traces if you're awake enough to see them. The real question is, do you dare to look? This video isn't for the faint of heart. It's for men who've suspected, who've silently endured, who've known something was off, but couldn't quite name it. If you feel like she's drifting away without ever saying goodbye, watch this video until the end. Because maybe, just maybe, you're already living through a breakup. You just haven't been told yet. The first gut feeling. Call it male intuition. Maybe it doesn't sound as elegant as the famed female sixth sense, but when it kicks in, it's rarely wrong. You know that feeling. No obvious evidence, no suspicious texts, no secret calls, just a subtle shift. Like you're living with someone who looks like her, but her soul has moved out. She's still there, eating at the same table, sleeping in the same bed, but no longer belongs here. And you feel it in the smallest of moments. Her gaze no longer lingers on you. The way she speaks shifts from we to I, and silences stretch longer, unfilled by either of you. But then you tell yourself, she's just tired. It's just work. I'm overthinking. And so you bury your gut feeling, like someone hiding a fragile item deep in a drawer, hoping it won't break. But in love, what's ignored doesn't disappear. It simply waits for the day it overflows. Sign number 1, her attention disappears. She used to be the first to ask, have you eaten yet? Was work tiring? Come home early. I'm waiting. Little questions, but they carried warmth. Then one day you realize no one's asking anymore. Not because you're fine, but because someone no longer wants to know how you are. Coldness doesn't arrive with an announcement. It shows up in the absence of what once felt familiar. She no longer laughs at your silly jokes, no longer remembers you hate tomatoes, and doesn't even notice when you're sad. She's still there, physically, but mentally the channel's already been switched. And when you try to ask what's wrong, you're met with a tired sigh or the usual line, I'm just exhausted, stop overthinking. But don't lie to yourself. Women don't pull away from men they're still emotionally invested in. When care vanishes, it's not just a sign, it's a siren. You don't need to hire a detective. When someone who once loved you deeply starts treating you like a stranger, you're already a living witness in the case titled Silent Breakup. Sign number 2, she starts hiding the small things. Betrayal doesn't begin in a hotel room. It begins with a phone turned screen down on the table, with her dodging eye contact when you ask, why were you home late today? She doesn't need to outright lie. She just needs to say nothing at all, and silence becomes a razor-sharp weapon. She used to tell you everything, how her co-worker dressed ridiculously, how her colleague was annoying. Now, rough day, don't ask. Her phone, once tossed carelessly on the couch, is now guarded like it holds nuclear codes. A message comes in, she tilts the screen. You smile, she shows no response. You ask, she says, you're imagining things. You're no longer the one she shares with. You're the one she hides things from. And just like that, you lose your place in your own relationship. She's built 2 floors of her world. One, safe and predictable, the life she shows you. The other, exciting, mysterious, and you don't have the password. Don't underestimate the little secrets, because when someone no longer wants you to know the small things, The big things have probably already happened. Sign number 3, intimacy shifts drastically. When a woman cheats, the first signs don't always come in words. They show up in bed. And ironically, those changes can swing either way. She turns into a block of ice or suddenly becomes unusually passionate. Both are red flags. If she suddenly loses interest, constantly says she's tired, avoids physical closeness, chances are she's now sharing that space with someone else. But don't be too reassured if she's suddenly very eager, throwing out moves you've never seen in your 3 years together, because sometimes that's not the fire of love, it's the smoke of guilt. Many men fall into this trap, thinking she's trying. But what she's trying to save may not be the relationship. It's her conscience. Touch becomes a performance, and you, sadly, are just an unwilling audience member. If after making love you feel cold, empty, disconnected, like you just embraced a ghost, maybe it's time to stop asking, "What changed tonight?" and start asking, "When did we change?" Sign number 4, she picks fights that make no sense. An unwashed dish suddenly gets blown up into a symbol of your emotional neglect. A text message you forgot to reply to while driving becomes proof you don't love her enough. Don't rush to blame yourself. You didn't just commit a felony. You're simply the target in a war that was scripted from the start. When a woman begins turning tiny issues into full-blown battles, it's not because the dish matters that much. It's because inside her, there's a storm of guilt she doesn't know how to release. And the easiest way to protect herself is to make you the bad guy. So in the script, she's quietly directing, you're the reason she had no choice but to walk away. This is a classic move in emotional misalignment. She's in the wrong, but can't stand the feeling of being wrong, so you have to be worse. She doesn't need you to actually be a terrible person. You just have to look like one so her conscience can sleep at night. When someone starts provoking conflict for no real reason, be alert. Because they may not be looking for answers, they're looking for an excuse to leave. Sign number 5, you're no longer in her future, W's hen you're in love. The future is a story you write together. We should travel somewhere this summer. When we move in together, should we get a dog or a cat someday? Small phrases, but rich with promise. Then one day you hear things like, I want to travel on my own. I've been thinking about moving somewhere else. I need space to find myself. She's not trying to find herself, she's rewriting her life's script, and you no longer have a role in it. What truly breaks the heart isn't shouting or arguments. It's the quiet absence of your name in her dreams. When she talks about her goals and never invites you into them. When she says I instead of we, the relationship has already shifted from shared plan to escape plan. And the most painful part? You're still in love, still waiting, still building a future. But she's already erased your name from the journey, without even telling you. Wake up, brother. You're not being left. You've simply been quietly written out of the script. The final truth and a call to wake up betrayal doesn't start with her holding another man's hand. It starts when her eyes stop looking at you with tenderness. When her replies to your texts feel like she's answering a work email. When her smile becomes polite, not affectionate. Betrayal isn't loud. It leaves silently, early, softly, and you never hear the door close. The sad thing is, most men don't fear losing love. They fear admitting it's already gone. They cling, they beg, they blame themselves, all just to prolong something that no longer exists. But you can't save a house that no longer has anyone living in it. You're just standing in the wreckage, calling out to someone who already took a different path. The problem isn't that she left. Everyone has the right to change. The problem is you stayed too long in a place where your heart was no longer welcome. Don't beg a dead love to come back. Hold on to your dignity and walk away before you're erased completely from your own story. Powerful conclusion. A man of value doesn't cling to what's rotted just because it used to be a flower. He doesn't kneel in front of a door that's been locked for a long time, nor does he fight with emotional ghosts, things only he still believes are real. Walking away doesn't mean you stopped loving. It means you love yourself enough not to shrink for someone who no longer sees your worth. That's not coldness, that's wisdom. That's maturity. That's understanding if love must be begged for, then it's no longer love. Remember, the strongest man isn't the one who endures the longest. He's the one who leaves when he realizes he's living in a one-sided relationship, maintained by expired hope and long-dead promises. If you feel like silence is pushing you out of someone's heart, stand up. Not for revenge, but to protect the last piece of your self-respect. Because sometimes the loudest thing you can say is to walk away without explanation.